All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for watching this video today. And I want to talk to you about Bulletin and Bulletin outreach as part of the Localist events calendar. It's a communication tool. It's a way to signpost your events, get them in front of new audiences, and also follow up with previous attendees. So we'll go through all the different ways you can leverage that and how to best utilize them for your precise deployment. Before we get into it, let's just go over our agenda very quickly. We're going to focus on the fundamentals to get started. What's the core purposes? What type of audiences can you reach and how do you do so? We'll go through all of those key features, do a deep dive there. I'm going to have to talk about Localist Register. Having the registration component on your platform will allow for a lot more follow-up. So we'll get there, and it's going to allow you to do some more targeted outreach down the line. Finally, we'll talk through a little bit of the real world applications and some use cases that we see most often, and a few other ideas for you as well. And we'll talk about how to integrate those with your other C3D solutions, and even stuff outside of Concept 3D. You've got content on your YouTube. We can leverage that as well and incorporate that, and I'll show you how. So that's the rough agenda. Definitely time for questions at the end. But let's get into it. So starting off, what is Localist Bulletin? So it's essentially your communication hub for event promotion. It's going to serve as like a central landing page or staging ground, I should say, for crafting messages, getting them out to your preferred audiences, following up on events post fact, giving folks know before you go. It's really an all-in-one promotion tool for your events. It includes some automation. We can create bulletins on a schedule, get them out on a cadence, or you can have them be manual sent. It's completely up to you in that space. But really here, one app to promote them all. Everything takes place within Localist. So all of your event data that you've already worked so hard on is right there at your fingertips, ready to be added to this newsletter tool. There's optional SMS support as well. This is pretty new for the past year. So if you've used Bulletin before, this will probably be news to you unless you're in there quite often. But that text support allows you to craft text messages directly from your event dashboard. So thinking through sort of urgent updates ahead of that event, it's critical to get something out to folks ASAP. That's going to be your best bet. You can also set up a campaign to text on a cadence, follow back up with previous attendees and more. So we'll go through that a little bit. And then lastly, I'll signpost that the bulletin here is available on all Localist platforms. Out of the box, you get that single campaign up to 2,500 sends a month. Our use case there is really primarily aimed at that weekly events newsletter. That was sort of the original, I guess, unifying use case that we envisioned here, because almost every campus we work with has that type of deployment in some way, shape, or form. So we wanted to make that nice and easy to promote those events to your existing audience. But Bulletin Outreach will actually unlock unlimited templates. So we'll talk through what templates are, how you can leverage those for different use cases, and go from there here in a few slides. So let's get into it. Core functionality, what does this tool do? It essentially lets you build and customize an event newsletter or a single event promotion piece. You can also share other elements. There's a lot of customization we'll look into. It's going to allow you to use drag and drop WYSIWYG editing to customize your layout and create a market-ready email communication to go out to your audiences. Speaking of audiences, you have full control over them and the content. On the audience side, a couple different ways we can get folks into the system. We can upload a contact list. We can even follow up on previous attendees from events, back to that register piece here in a minute. And you can also just add emails ad hoc. So if you want to include your colleague on that blast before it goes out, you can simply add that to the bulletin before it's sent. As far as content, we're really going to leverage your Localist classifications to help curate it. So a lot of the work you've already done, creating your calendar, customizing those events, all of that's going to pay off down the line here with Bulletin, because we can quickly say, hey, I want all of the events for the College of Law. This is my College of Law newsletter, and it's going to go out to this contact list that I've uploaded, all of my alumni, my current students, all of that good stuff. So complete control there. And then scheduling and automation. We can schedule it on a cadence. It can be weekly, monthly, you name it, you got it. We can also just send ad hoc. So you can make this a set it and forget it solution for you. The event listings will always pull in the most up-to-date events. So you're never giving out of date content. You don't have to refresh that manually. The system just takes care of that. So those are the core functions of what Bulletin can do. So let's get into some use cases. But prior to, I just want to talk about Register for just a minute. So Register is Localist's free ticketing option. It can be used for paid events. It can be used for free events. It's a built-in ticketing component of your calendar, and there's no charge for those free tickets. So we really encourage registration for any event that you might want to follow up on later or get in touch with those attendees. Because once you enable register on an event, your attendees are going to sign up, get a free ticket, give you their contact information, including that cell phone number if you have SMS enabled. And that's going to allow for targeted outreach or rapid updates along the way. So along with that, you'll get great registrant data. Take this back to your CRM. That's going to help you, strategize down the line. If it's an alumni touch point, we definitely want to know that. And also for current students, making sure that they're engaged and maximizing that retention outcome. So we can also set up some automated messages to those events before they're even registered for. And as folks register for that event, they will be added to that campaign. So you can kind of set up a week before, 5 days before, day before communication flow. And as folks get registered, they'll just get dropped in that bucket wherever they are. And as always, you can personalize that messaging for any of those different campaigns that you have. So a lot of different campaign possibilities. We'll get into a few examples here, but some that I don't really cover in the next two. Exclusive previews, if you're opening and debuting a new building, you can share that out with Bulletin and let people get a glimpse at that ahead of time if they've been involved at a previous event in time. Some other things, last minute event reminders, we'll cover that a little bit more on the SMS slide. And then as always, you can always follow up with folks post-event with surveys and different things like that. So this is going to walk you through building our first bulletin. So really, it's a very simple process, and we'll walk through that live here in just a few minutes. But step one, create your template. We've got pre-built templates for you to get started from, and you can always build these from scratch using our WYSIWYG editor. So no need to reinvent the wheel, but if you want to reinvent it, all the tools are there for you to do so. From there, we're going to customize the content, and that's essentially going to be curating your events. As I mentioned earlier, you're going to incorporate your localist classifications. So your event types, your target audiences, your groups, your departments, all of that infrastructure and classification is going to be at your fingertips here in order for you to curate these newsletters. There's also going to be options for you to add supplemental components, a call to action. I've seen folks advertise their campus app and create a download link and place that into the bulletin as well. So lots you can do on the content side. From there, we're going to look at our audiences. As I mentioned, that's going to be your contact list, ad hoc emails you might want to add, or even those attendees from prior Localist events where you've enabled register. And you can mix and match those components, some of everything there. And our system will handle those opt-outs. So if they opt out from one of our bulletins, it's going to be logged in our system, and we'll make sure to cease delivery to that address. Lastly, the last thing you're going to want to do is preview it, and a couple different options for you to do so. I personally prefer the browser preview as I'm working on it initially because I can test changes in real time and see what my inputs are outputting, right? And then as always, you can do a email test send to yourself, to some colleagues, to someone else who might need to approve that messaging before it goes out. And I'll show you how to do all of that here in just a second. But this will just help you ensure optimal presentation and functionality. It's important to test both. Certain email clients might treat different elements. Maybe they'll hide images. So it's important to know where your most common audiences are and get a look at what that email is going to look like before it goes out to the masses. And then finally, you will schedule it or just wait to send it on demand. All right. Well, let's look at the first use case. As I mentioned, this is kind of our primary driver, and that's just your event promotion generally. We can take every single event that's in your system, place it into a bulletin, and get it in front of folks. whether that's a new contact list of folks who've never been on the calendar at all, or your tried and true cohort who's engaged with events all the time and has registered and or have registered and attended in the past. Um, so really our pro tip in this space is the weekly newsletter and automate that to go out on a schedule, weekly, every 2 weeks, monthly, really up to you. That bulletin outreach will allow you to create additional templates, and then you can start to market specific events, specific event types, your conferences. You can follow up with stewardship pieces. There's a lot you can do with those additional templates there. As always, use good marketing practices, good engaging subject lines, and clear CTAs just to help drive attention and drive those registrants and attendees. All right, move over to number 2. So we mentioned the attendee engagement journey. Um, as folks have signed up for an event, a know before you go component contained in the email with a link back to that event, all of those details you've put into the event initially are going to be present in that follow or in that pre-event email. So it's a great way to leverage it just to make sure folks have the necessary information that they need. Maybe it's parking, maybe there's some road closures. We can communicate that. Event day support. This can be leveraged via email or via that SMS component. So we'll talk about that in the next slide. And then post-event follow-up. Maybe you've got a robust survey in your CRM you'd like to get out to those event attendees just to make sure you've got good programming and it's engaging, and help build those long-lasting relationships. So you can use this at every phase of that event journey. All right. And then SMS, this is the newest piece over the past year. I do want to signpost pretty early here this is a one-directional conversation. This is not meant to be a back and forth. This is for updates, pushing critical information directly to users' cell phones. So the way we capture that number is at the point of registration. So having that free ticket will capture that cell phone. And then if needed, you can then message all of the attendees for a particular event, or you can build out a full-blown text update campaign to message a set of events. So maybe you're just sharing some road closure information with all of your events that are coming up in the month of October. A lot you can do with it. And yeah, as we know, text unmatched open rates for urgent communication. There's really no better way. Very few people are on site checking their email for last minute updates. Along with that, no application required. It's just going to reach them directly. Yeah, like I said, we can schedule and have those be proactive or reactive pieces to what's going on. All right. Excellent. So ultimately, there's other ways you can incorporate your C3D products as well. So we'll show you an example with a map embedded into the bulletin as a know before you go component. But even on the 360 tour side of things, or for those of you with panos on the map, showcasing a space before users attend is a great way to help inspire some FOMO. If you've spent a ton on that installation, making that space pop, show it off, get people excited for it. There's a lot of ways we can embed here in the bulletin, and we will look at that in just a second. But as always, if you're curious or want to know more, reach out to your partner success manager here at C3D, and we would be happy to chat with you. Excellent. So that's it for the slides. Let's jump in and look at a few customer examples. And then I'll also show you how to build one from scratch, and we'll create our very own bulletin here. So first up, this is a weekly events newsletter from our partners over at Gardner Webb. They've been awesome to work with. Done a great job with this newsletter here. We've got the hero image, our top line here, brief information, and then the week's announcements. This is a specific event they're spotlighting, and we'll look at those components in just a second. They're really easy to add. And then beneath that is just all of their upcoming events over the next week or so. And you can control how many display here. There's a few other things we can do, but really well done. And then a second component for sporting and games. So you can, like I said, curate what type of events are displayed. And you can, as you see, do multiple different batches all in the same bulletin to help segment that event data a little bit more. A great call to action to submit your own event, and at the top up here, obviously a link back to that home calendar so they can start that registration process. So that's one version. From here, let me just show you what it looks like here on the back end. So this is our examples platform, and got a lot of campaigns in here, but a couple I'd like to show you. You'll see the type clearly listed here for email versus text. So a couple examples. The first one, we'll look at Jared's promotion here. And so here is all the core settings. When we create a new campaign, we fill this out. Where it really gets fun is edit content and layout up here in the upper right. All right, now that we're in here, we see all of these different components. If we open this menu, we can add more. We can delete the ones that are there. So we've got our branded header, a hero image, another header right in there, a description. So you can use this more as a classical email tool as well and communicate text-based updates if you prefer. And then really what we're looking for here is the event list. So we can control timing, number of events that will display, how they're sorted. So let's do chronological. And then from there, much like the other elements on your calendar, whether it's a channel or a tab on your home page, we can go in and curate by all of your classifications from event types all the way down to custom filters that you've created, tags, keywords, that sort of stuff. Exclusion criteria in there as well. So as you're building these, you can quickly preview. So let's just take a look at the browser preview up here. There I am. There's my headshot. Come over to C3D's website. And then what am I up to? Refinishing some doors. And then there's that event listing that we looked at, all organized and ready to go. So that's kind of that's a version of the weekly newsletter we would recommend you build out there. And then the other example I wanted to show you before we build our own is sort of that know before you go component, or single event promotion. So this one here, Jared's event promotion, we'll look at that browser preview. Well, first let's go to the edit content. You'll see this one has fewer components, totally fine. The big one we're going to look at here is the event spotlight component. There's very little you need to do. All you have to do is search for the event you'd like to promote by name. It's in the Localist system already. It'll pull it in and display it. And then I've done a few different components here, including this HTML embed, which I'm really excited to show you. And then obviously our brand header and all of that good stuff. So let's just preview it. All right, this is for the Kansas City Chiefs upcoming game with the Lions on 10/12. It's going to be a good one. And what I've done is actually just dropped in an iframe for the interactive map. So you can include other messaging, verbally communicate road closures. But if you are a map customer and want to include what you've already built on the map side, it is super easy and it's fully functional. We can, go through interiors. We can open up the menu, fully navigate things, even do our wayfinding components as well. And maybe when I'm ready, I'm trying to get out of here. Let me get the egress turned on and I can spin around, do whatever I need to do. Full functionality here in this iframe embed. All right, excellent. So that is that. Let's build one from scratch. It's super simple to do. And I've got a good idea for us here. So let's go over to campaign and I'm going to do new email campaign. All right, and we'll just name this homecoming webinar. Perfect. That's fine. Yeah, partner success webinar. Love that. Last chance email, really handy feature. If you've set a bulletin up on a schedule, put your email in here. If it's scheduled to go out at 7 a.m. on Monday, at 6 a.m. on Monday, you're going to get a preview. That way, if anything has gone wrong, or maybe there's an urgent update you forgot to make before the last week ended, it'll give you one last chance to get in there and edit it before it sends. So a super handy option there. Your templates, you are required to start with one, but you can very quickly whittle those down. We'll just do a single event promotion. And we'll keep that as send manually. All right, now that we have saved that, first we'll go over to manage subscribers. Here's where you would select from your contact list, upload new contacts, even search previous events. So maybe I'll do homecoming. I think there's some in there. Perfect. I can say anybody who went to homecoming earlier this year, I want them to get this email blast. So that is available to you as well. And then here's where you can do those ad hoc emails. So let me go back to just the layout here. So there's your subscribers. Then we'll jump up, go to edit content and layout. And we've got event spotlight. Let's get rid of that. Don't need to register. What I want to do here is promote the last webinar we held here at the CS or the PS webinar series. So we'll go over to HTML and we get rid of this register component. We got this custom HTML component here. So what we're going to do is actually get an embed code for the YouTube video and drop it right in here. Very similar to how we added that map. So here's that video. If you haven't checked this one out, want to learn a little bit more about how to leverage our products for homecoming, please do so over on our help site. But we'll come to the YouTube here and let's grab this embed code. All right, perfect. Drop this in. We'll save those changes. And we can see what that looks like without doing anything else. Just going to be a plain YouTube video. So I want to add a little bit more. Let me go ahead and do a description. I'm going to take that up above. And we've already got that description over here on the YouTube. So let me copy that, drop that right in. And then maybe I'll do, we'll do a header. Yeah. And we'll put that at the top. We're going to call that Partner Success Webinar Series. Getting ready for homecoming. All right, let's save that and take a quick look at what it looks like now. All right, we're getting there. Excellent, very close. Description, don't really need that in there. Let me get rid of that. Just leave that blank. Cool, getting closer and closer. As you'll notice, there's custom CSS classes in here, so you can get in here and manipulate some of that CSS on a component by component level. And then lastly, let's just do a link list here. So we'll do a link list and we'll call this link to, actually we'll leave the header blank, add a link, come back over here. I'm going to take the share URL. That way folks can just access it over on YouTube if they prefer. Link to YouTube. Adding the link. Oop, I just need to save it. There we go. Okay, and let's take a look. So we'll need some spacing there, but easy to do to give it some padding and add some color, perhaps make it jump. Or perhaps we just want to, yeah, the watch on YouTube's right there. That's redundant. Let me go ahead and refresh this. There we go. Let me get rid of that link list. Perfect. And if we're happy with that, this plays right up there, right in the email browser. Really cool. And ready to market. So that covers basically everything except for the SMS component. So at the last few minutes, I want to show that off just a little bit. Back over to campaigns. Got a couple tests in here, so we'll go ahead and use this test campaign we've set up. You can give it a name, make it active or inactive. Not quite Friday, but we're getting there. So you can send that manually. As you see over here, manage subscribers. This is going to be limited to those registrants of particular events. So make sure to use that Localist Register. And even if you're not ready to do SMS now, starting to use that ticketing component, even for those free tickets, will preserve that data. So next year, let's say you want to add that text component, you'll be able to reach back out to anybody who attended those events over the past year. So that data stays in Localist and is there for your use. So that is our audience setting here. The spin, I've got too many of these open. And then this is your message. It's going to be plain text, so very rudimentary, very direct. And as I mentioned at the top, it is just a one-way conversation. So definitely keep that in mind. And then from there, we can change to send on a schedule. I can have a start date, a send time, and add different days in there if I want, or I can keep it on send manually. So that's how you build a bulletin campaign for SMS. You could send now up top. The other way to use the text component, and maybe a little bit more useful, is over in the event page itself. So let's go back to that Lions and Chiefs example somewhere up here. There we go. So back to this bulletin here. Oh, cool. I want to go to this. Let me learn more. It's going to take me back to my Localist platform, and there I can complete my registration and sign up to go. If only they were free tickets, I'd be at every game. So once you're registered, you're all set. But let's say you've got an event coming up, and let's just find that Lions Chiefs game. There we go. Uh, let's say rained out, weather delay. Kansas, they get some thunderstorms coming through. So from there, I can come back to my event as an admin and under the attendee dashboard, or the attendee engagement component of the dashboard, we've got this event promotion module. This has been here for quite some time. And if you look at it, you'll notice the bulk schedule, different social media pieces. You can always just email folks directly as well. But now, if you have that SMS component, you can choose to send a quick text message to anyone who is registered. So here in Oklahoma, severe weather all the time. We, occasionally have to cancel things and give some last minute updates. Or maybe there's a road closure, or maybe a parking lot is full for one of your events, and you just want to let people know before they're getting to the venue that there's some new parking available. So class cancellation due to inclement weather. You get the picture. So from there, we can do all attendees, or for events in a series, attendees on a specific date, just to make sure that you've got the right folks. You can also just set this up to quickly set up a know before you go text or a reminder text. You can set for a specific time, or one of my favorites, relative to the event, 2 hours before, I want to send this text out and let folks know that we're excited to see them and can't wait to have them on campus here. So a couple different ways to utilize that SMS component. But yeah, we're about at time. So I thank you so much for your attention and engagement. I hope you get something out of this. As I mentioned, feel free to reach out to me or your partner success manager here at C3D if you have more questions and would like to learn more about Bulletin. So from there, I think we will wrap, and thank you so much.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks, everyone.
Take care, Courtney. Bye.